Hey there. Welcome to What Keeps You Up at Night podcast. I'm your host, Kiné Corder, the leading national certified counselor specializing in financial hypnotherapy for stress and sleep. That's why this podcast is called What's Keeping You Up at Night. What keeps you up at night? That's my question to you. I do have a listener response. So I'm going to do this in two parts. The first part I'm going to do is a little bit of a conversation, you and I, that we're going to discuss. One thing we're going to discuss. And then I'm going to do part two, which is going to be the response to the listener, but the subjects are similar. So the subject for today is a little woo woo. I'm going to say speaking it into existence. And what I know about metaphysics is that what you focus on expands. Tell me if you believe that, first of all. Do you believe what you focus on expands? And what does that mean to you? So, actually, yeah, I'm going to change that. We're not going to talk about what you focus on expands because that might be a little too woo woo for some of you. What we will talk about, let's make it more practical, is what's stressing you right now. There's a better way I'm going to ask that question. What's stressing you right now? Just put it in the comments if you want. Just think about it. Whatever. You don't owe me the answer, but just think about it. What's stressing you right now? Second question. How long has that thing been stressing you or person? How long has that situation been stressing you? Long time, huh? Yeah, probably. And how does this stress relate to other stresses in your life? Like because of this stress, another stress comes up, or this is caused by another stress, right? Or this is causing another stress, or this is familiar, similar to another stress, or this is related. You see what I'm saying? It's related, it's caused by, is connected to, is similar to. Yeah, a lot of times the stress, especially the biggest stress in our lives, is similar, related, caused by other stresses in our lives. So it snowballs. What you focus on expands. Okay, never mind. I'm just pointing out that the stress in your life um, can multiply. So your biggest stressor, let's talk about that. The biggest stressor you have is what? Is it money? Is it time? Maybe you feel like you don't have enough time. Is it your location? Maybe you feel like you outgrown where you live and you need to get out of it. It could be your actual space, like maybe you have a 2 or 3 bedroom house and now you have more kids and family members and you really need to grow out of that house. It could be the city you're in, like you've just outgrown the city, you've networked your butt off. It's time for you to go to the next place. It could be relationships. You have relationships in your life that you have outgrown and they are just weighing you down and you just won't let them go. You're not alone. We all do it. We all do it. It's not you. Um, Not just you, I should say. It's not just you. But it is you because it's not your fault that you've outgrown these relationships, but it is your responsibility to take some action. Now that doesn't need Ooh, let me stop right here and make a point. That does not mean that you need to go announce. You need to make a post about it, a podcast, change your voicemail. Remember back in the 90s, you said, if you don't get a response from this voicemail, it's because you are no longer in my life. Yeah, you don't need to do all that. That's dramatic and it's not true. It doesn't work. If you care enough to make a whole post about it, if you care enough to change your entire voicemail when professional people could be calling you, if you care that much, you still care. You need to work on that. You need therapy. Let that stress go. Okay, Nay, how do you do that? Oh, don't you worry. That's part two. I got something for you. So, but let's just acknowledge, let's become aware, and let's decide if you're going to accept or adjust. So we already went through it. Could be your relationship, it could be not, your time management, it could be your location. It could be your money, like you don't have enough of it, you want more of it, or the way you get the money. You're just tired of doing that thing, even though it is good money. You're just like, oh, I'm just over it. It could be your reputation. Maybe you have hurt a lot of people, and now you got to isolate yourself, and that's stressing you out because you're like, I actually would have liked to have some friends. I don't know. Maybe I should apologize. It could be any number of things. Usually there are around like 7 categories in which the stress falls in. You can just put it in the comments. Is it money? Is it your health? I didn't mention that one. Is it love in all of its forms, not just romantic? It could be parent child, um, you being the parent or the child. Um, is it your reputation? Like I mentioned, is it recreation? Maybe you're not having enough fun and you're stressed out because you're not having enough fun. That's a big one. I need to definitely do a whole podcast episode on that. Fun. Uh, that's all I'll say there. I'll just stop there. We'll do a separate episode. Is it fun? Or like I say, is it time? Is it location? Which one is it? Put it in the comments. And if you want to talk more about it, you can leave me a listener response. I'll put a link in the show notes about how you can leave me answer a few questions, and I'll make an episode just for you, like I'm about to do for this next person, for this person. What is keeping you up at night as it relates to those areas that we just talked about? Hold on. Okay. So before I answer the listeners or respond to the listener or watcher, um, what I want to do is give you a few tips in general. In general. So when I say what keeps you up at night, understand that I know that for a lot of men, you might actually be asleep physically, but mentally, your brain is still going. So when I say what keeps you up at night, I am also saying what keeps your brain up at night because your body could be asleep and your brain could still be working because there are things on your brain that are urgent and very important. So sometimes the important stuff is keeping you up, but usually what really keeps you up, especially if it's happening in the middle of the night, not when you first go to sleep. Let's say you first go to sleep, you sleep fine for a good hour, maybe 2, and then the sleep gets a little choppy. That's the worries. That's the subconscious stuff. That's the stuff that's like, whoa, what if this happens? And it could be far out, it could be fantastic. And some of us have those fantastic dreams where this would never happen. We would never be on a horse in space and fall off of it. And then when we fall off, we fall into quicksand, like that's how dreams go, right? But there's meaning, there's symbols there. So, what does space represent to you? Maybe you feel far away. Maybe you feel distant. What does a horse represent to you? Maybe that is your power. The horse represents power or freedom, and you fell off the horse. You like don't have any freedom. You fell off your freedom. What does the quicksand represent? Maybe you feel like you're like drowning or being pulled down by this lack of freedom, by this stress. You see, that's how we interpret dreams as a therapist. But every client is different. So what I just said to you may not actually be what the symbols are to you. You have to really look at what each thing represents. And you need to think about what you are feeling in the dream. So those are 2 things that I want you to focus on. Only for a second though, because what you focus on expand. I want you to get clear on what you're feeling. And then I want you to ask yourself, is that what I want to feel? I already know the answer. It's probably no. If it's keeping you up at night, if you're not resting peacefully, it's probably no. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want something else. And what is that something else? Are you clear on what that something else is? See, all of these are questions that I would ask in a therapy session. But these are also questions that like barbers are asking in the chair. And people are getting like these pseudo therapy sessions just going to get their haircut or when they go to their salon or when they're getting their nails done. I mean, if they're getting their nails done by somebody who speaks English, because I know sometimes in the nail industry, they don't care. They're just trying to do your nails and get you out, get the next person in. But for those people who really go deep, any service, any pamper service, this is a time where you'll relax. And even one of my followers told me that in the mattress business, because they have people lay down and relax, people start to tell them their business. And who knew? I mean, I'm sure they hear all kinds of things, including in the mattress business, because I did as a barber and I do as a therapist. And there is no judgment. It is what it is. It is not here to judge you. This is here to decide what is next for you. So if you're saying, this is it, this is how I am, and I'm okay with that. I'm just going to stay here. If it means I'm up at night, then I am. But guess what? Once you decide this is who I am a dirty dog. That is just, oh, well, they're going to have to accept me the way I am. Once you decide that, you will sleep so peacefully. It won't even matter to you because you have accepted yourself to be that way. You are now demanding that people accept you to be that way. But if that's not how you want to be, even like when you look back at Carnegie, I think, or Carnegie, as you might be saying, but Carnegie, he was okay with being a terrible person. Let's just call him that. I don't know if he would name himself that, but he was okay with being that. He was a terrible, horrible boss. In fact, thousands, I think it was, or at least hundreds of people died under his watch. And he didn't care. He was like, this is the way it is. This is where I'm running my business because it's saving me money. I don't care if it's unsafe. And then eventually he caught up to him and he had that guilt. And that's when he made an adjustment. And that's when he had Carnegie Hall and the universities, and just started donating money and even sold his business. And at that time, I think at the highest price that a business had been sold, which is quite amazing. And then he started, giving the money away and putting it in charities and stuff like that. That was him making amends. So if you decide, I don't want to be a dirty dog anymore, I want to clean myself up, then you can adjust. You can adjust. Now, how you adjust takes time. You're not waving a magic wand and just like that, you're different. I mean, sometimes it happens like that. Catastrophic event usually, but most times it's time and repetition. There's this water. Most times it's time and repetition, time and repetition, time and repetition, or a catastrophic event or hypnotherapy. And if you're not going to get hypnotherapy, you can wait for that catastrophic event, like whatever happened to Carnegie, or you can just decide and you can make it a time and repetition thing. It could take you a year, it could take you 2 years. We don't know. When I do retreats, it takes people about a week, maybe a little longer, depending. The longest I've seen is like 6 months. But if you're consistently doing your work, it it changes. There's a huge change, a big shift that happens. So you made the decision. I want to adjust, and that's where it starts. And it might be just you on your own at first. I find that men do it this way. Women typically go into therapy a little bit early, but and then they end up in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Which is why I choose to work with men, because I like when people are dedicated, consistent, and like, let's go, let's get this, let's do this. That's kind of just fun for me. Um, so if you are there, then jump in. But if you're like, I don't know exactly what I'm adjusting to, let me figure this out, then that would be my first step for you. I would say first, just decide I use dirty dog, don't get offended by it. It might not be how you describe yourself. I'm just using it as example purposes. You decide you don't want to be a dirty dog no more. Then what does the cleaned up version of you look like? What does it look like? How do you perform? You can really just visualize yourself the way you want to be. Oh, I'm kinder. When my children call me, I don't yell at them. Oh, when I speak to my employees, I am understanding. Um, I take days off. Oh, I do charity. I even, when I'm out the grocery store, I have conversations with strangers. Yeah, and they're genuine. So whatever you see, just visualize yourself. I do this session called Visualize. your prosperous life. It's something that I teach the barbers because it's a very low impact hypnotherapy session that you don't have to do a lot of changing. It's very soft and non-invasive. That's what I'll call it. It's non-invasive because sometimes hypnotherapy can really get into your business, but this doesn't get into your business that much, mostly because it's a future session rather than a past session. We're looking at you in the future. And sometimes that is easier for people to look at rather than looking back at their past. We don't spend a lot of time in the past anyway in hypnotherapy, but not in my version, not in the self-sync version of hypnotherapy, but because there's not as much value in it as people think. The present and the future are a lot more valuable as far as information is shifting. Now, if you're talking about you want to know reasons and whys and all of that, then yeah, you need to look at the past. But looking at the reasons and the whys don't help you shift. So that's all for now. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to go on to part 2 because I want to respond to this listener. And it is very detailed what I'm going to say. Very detailed because I'm giving her step by step how I want her to go to sleep at night, what I want her to do during the day, and then her night routine. And then what specifically I want her to do at night so that she can sleep longer and have not just a good night's sleep, but like the type of sleep that helps you recover because she is going through something, some recovery things. This might be you, so you might want to listen to part 2. All right. Until then, just to recap what you can be doing right now is just be aware what is the biggest stressor? Is it related? Is it, connected to other stressors? Because we could do a session on handling that one. It'll also erase the other ones because whatever is associated with it, but it'll also erase the very first one without us even having to go back to it. So that's first. The second thing I want you to decide if you're going to accept it. This is just who I am. I'm not changing because that's possible. And that is okay if that's the decision you make. It's your life. And then 3, if you want to adjust, then just be clear on what you want to adjust to. What kind of person you would like to be. Those are the 3 things that I'd like to see you do after this episode. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, or maybe just have some insights you want to share with me. Go ahead, do that. And lastly, if you want me to respond to your biggest stressor and what keeps you up at night and give you a little bit of direction, I can do that. Especially if you're a barber who listens to a lot of people's problems for free. And now you need to offload some of that stuff, or maybe you have your own stuff that you want to experience. I could even interview you right here. That'd be good. That'd be really good. So I'll put a link in the show notes as to how to give me that information that I need in order to make your episode. And then if you're a barber and you want to come on for an interview, I'll have a question in there that'll ask you if you'd like to come on for an interview, and we can do it that way. How does that sound? Does that sound good or good? I know, right? Great. So I'll see you sooner. Love you muchly.